On January 7th, 2022, David Bennett woke up just like he had every day before. However, this time was slightly different because he had a new heart. Mr. Bennett was waking up from the first successful surgery in which a pig heart was transplanted into a human. Now, most of us don't have to think about organ transplants that often, which is probably a good thing. However, transplants have become an integral part of medical science in the 21st century. According to the website for the United Network for Organ Sharing, last accessed February 26th, over 42,000 organ transplants took place in 2022, and this statistic actually represented a 3.7% increase from those in 2021. These procedures have given new opportunities to patients both young and old, whose conditions were previously seen as being untreatable. Mr. Bennett's story is especially noteworthy because his procedure was the culmination of decades of research on cross-species transplantation, otherwise known as xenotransplantation. Xenotransplantation is on the verge of revolutionizing medical science, so it's important that we understand this complex process by first considering its earliest origins, then analyzing its current applications, before finally considering its future implications. Xenotransplantation isn't quite as modern as many may assume. In fact, the first documented medical procedures involving animal components took place all the way back in 1667 in France, according to a 2017 article from the Smithsonian Magazine. The medical pioneer in question here was Jean-Baptiste Denis, the personal physician to King Louis XIV. In what has become one of the most infamous series of medical procedures in medical history, Denis transfused lamb blood into 4 young men, 2 of which ended up dying shortly after their procedures. This resulted in Denis being accused of murder and such procedures involving animal components becoming medical taboo for the next few centuries. Explorations into xenotransplantation picked up again in the mid-20th century when doctors began to realize that the reason for so many previous failures was the fact that the human immune system was rejecting the foreign organs. According to a February 2022 article from the American Association of Medical Colleges, doctors started to use immunosuppressive drugs when transplanting primate livers, kidneys, and hearts into humans. These patients had the chance of surviving anywhere from just 2 hours all the way up to several months after their procedures. Then, as explained in a February 2022 article from the NYU Langone Transplant Institution, porcine, or pig, organs began to replace primate organs in these experimental procedures for a few key reasons. First of all, porcine organs are more similar in size to human organs. Also, due to having more genetic differences from humans than primates do, porcine organs are less likely to transfer harmful diseases during these experimental procedures. Now that we've looked at xenotransplantation from its earliest applications, we're ready to dive into the modern work that's being done with porcine organs. Centuries-old ideas regarding animal organ transplants have culminated in modern procedures involving porcine organs. An article published in the Journal of Tissue Engineering in 2016 discusses the effectiveness of using porcine acellular lung matrix in healing damaged tissue in rats. Cellular matrices are basically just mesh-like patches that surgeons use when they're finishing a procedure. The matrix acts as a helping hand for the afflicted area by supporting the growth of new cells. And the goal for this procedure using the porcine matrix in rats was to imitate how standard cellular matrices aid the healing process in humans. Standard cellular matrices are typically made from human skin tissue, and the experimental one in this procedure was made from a pig's lung membrane. At the end of the experiment, the researchers concluded that the porcine membrane had more cellular density than the human one. The future of xenotransplantation became increasingly bright when doctors were successful in transplanting the first porcine heart into the aforementioned David Bennett in January 2022. NBC News published an article describing his story in July 2022. The procedure went smoothly, and the porcine heart was able to extend Mr. Bennett's life for 2 more months before he ultimately passed away. Mr. Bennett passed away because his body was too weak and couldn't support the new heart. However, it's important to note that his body didn't reject the foreign heart. Since organ rejection wasn't linked to his death whatsoever, the doctors considered the procedure a success, which means that xenotransplantation is not only medically viable, but also that it has the potential to transform the medical field as we know it. We've looked at the past and present of xenotransplantation, so now let's look to the future and consider its implications. Current research on xenotransplantation can be seen as an investment in the humans of the future because it could be the key to solving a huge problem in the medical field, a shortage of donor organs, especially kidneys. According to organdonor.gov, last accessed September 25th, 2022, there were 90,483 patients on the waiting list for a kidney transplant in 2021. Of these individuals, only 24,670, or about 27%, actually received a transplant. Also in 2021, researchers at the University of Alabama at Birmingham successfully transplanted pig kidneys into brain-dead humans, according to a January 2022 article from the Scientific American. The article explains how these kidneys were able to perform their vital functions for the remainder of the experiment. This implies that xenotransplantation has the potential to meet the demand for kidneys as well as other donor organs that will inevitably be greater in the future. The University of Alabama at Birmingham released a statement in February 2022 explaining that its scientists are hard at work obtaining the necessary green light from the FDA in order to begin traditional human clinical trials with these pig kidneys. Furthermore, a June 2021 article from the World Journal of Clinical Cases implies that animal stem cells could be another key to overcoming the chronic shortage of donor organs. The article explains how xenogenic stem cell transplants could be used to treat liver failure, heart attacks, and insufficient bone marrow function. Xenogenic stem cell transplants work either by directly replacing the faulty cells or by changing the way by which the cells reproduce and causing fewer of the bad cells to be produced. This application of stem cell technology means that xenotransplantation truly has the potential to change the medical field as we know it. From early experiments in animal blood transfusions to a man literally surviving with a porcine heart, xenotransplantation has undoubtedly progressed in leaps and bounds since its beginning. Today, we explored xenotransplantation's unsuccessful past, improved present, and optimistic future. Thanks to patients like David Bennett, the use of porcine organs in the medical field is becoming increasingly normalized and will save countless lives in the future.